Hello everyone, it is the me, Game Penguin 21, and today, well, we're going to be taking a look at good old-fashioned Harman Smith, because I promised you a Harman Smith video this week, and you're going to get a Harman Smith video this week. Now, I don't think that this will be my last video of this year. This will be one of my last. I think I have one or two more that I'm going to be lining up for the end of the year. One of them already is lined up. It's my clip dump, which is just taking a bunch of both my shorts clips that I post basically daily, as well as just taking a bunch of just clips that I have in general of games of one game that I guess that I played this year, which is mainly BattleBit Remastered this year. But I'm just putting all of the games and clips that I have into one video, so you can go and you can actually watch them all as well. I'll probably link to it when it's available through my shorts and stuff like that whenever I get around to it. But again, that's coming out at the very end of the year, not on Christmas, because, again, I want you guys to be spending time with Christmas. And I won't post any Salt that week as well, because it's Christmas, and I want to give you guys a little gift. Number two, I want to thank you all for this amazing year. We reached 700-plus subscribers this year. I am so thankful for that, because I said at the beginning of this year that I wanted to hit at least 300 by the end of this year, and y'all smashed that button so much. I want to thank you all for subscribing and watching my content and continuously giving me feedback of things and stuff like that. I don't think that I will make a year in retrospective type thing that I really wanted to make, because there's a lot of things that I didn't do right, but I did do right, and it's not the best. But overall, I would say that this year's been very positive to everyone involved. In any case, you're not here to help me ramble on about stuff. But again, if you like what it is that I do, and want to support me in any way, shape, or form, your subscription is enough. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, share this around. But just thank you all so much for everything. And now to your, of course, amazing Salt video that includes Mr. Harman Smith. So let's get started.
Following the situation at the Game Awards, we really need to address the reality of what this means for the industry and what's been happening over, we'll say the past year or so. Because it does feel like there's been a notable transition in the narrative of how Nintendo is treated among the gaming population, the gaming press, how YouTubers are handling the situation, and how, Nintendo is being treated going forward. And I do think with the Switch as it is now, being several years old, the gaming media is now comfortable saying that the Switch is on the way out and that the new console is coming soon, as early as this year. We started off the year that way with them saying that Tears of the Kingdom would be the last game on Switch ever, and then following the release of this amazing game and the announcements of all the games that are coming out after it, they've been very, very aggressive in downplaying everything they do. Tears of the Kingdom wasn't great. Mario Wonder isn't a major title. Everything is a remake. Everything is a remaster. There's nothing new on the horizon. Nintendo is obviously gearing up to put out the new Switch next year.
Okay, so that whole point that he tried to make was basically gaming people are saying that Nintendo is trying to gear up to make the next generation console. They need to make better consoles, I guess, and blah, 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 blah. You heard it as well as I did. Let's break down the point here. It's not impossible to say that Nintendo isn't the most underpowered out of all the three major consoles right now. It's not impossible to say that. It's not, in fact, I'd say it's very possible. Because, yeah, Nintendo was never touted to be the powerhouse that the other two have always been. They don't do that. That's not how they operate. And that's fine. Again, novelty, power, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What does matter at the end of the day is Harman apparently not seeing the writing on the wall as to why people are saying this. The main thing that he continues to bring up is the fact that everyone's been downplaying Nintendo, saying that Nintendo is bad and that Nintendo needs to release a new console, which they do, by the way. They really do, for the one reason that their console is fucking old. I'm sorry, technology ages, technology gets better with time, exponentially so, and in the console space, at least, you need to update your hardware every now and again just to keep up pace. That's just how technology operates. You gotta keep the hardware train and stuff moving to make the process easier. And how is that bad? Like, that's my biggest question. How is that like a bad thing to ask a company to do better? I know that he's going to say, oh, well, the Switch is going to live on forever. No, it's not. No, it's not. Do you not know Nintendo's thing? Shutting down things like the eShops and the Wii U stores and stuff like that? Like, both of those shops shut down, I believe, this year. So, no, those games and stuff won't be around for fucking ever. And again, it's almost like this is how console... Oh, Jesus. Whatever. Roll it more.
The reason they're doing this is not because out of like some eager anticipation for the next piece of Nintendo hardware. It is to downplay what Nintendo is doing now by overhyping audiences on a promise that was never.
So, like how marketing works in general? I'm just saying that that's kind of how marketing works in general, and this is coming from someone who is a marketing type student. So,
made to begin with, right? They are doing the thing they did in like the Wii years, right? Where they're doing this thing where they start banging on about how the Wii supposedly can't run all these big games and how third parties would come flocking to Nintendo if they just put out an HD Wii and all they had to do was just give it more horsepower. Like it's the same kind of thing, right? We're seeing like the beginning trends of it, like the beginning signs of it, but they are gearing up to be increasingly anti-Nintendo, right? They went full mask off with the Game Awards, right? By nominating basically nothing, giving Super Mario Bros. Wonder no props at all, and like shafting the real objective game of the year, Tears of the Kingdom, in favor of like some absolute slop, handpicked.
okay, I didn't want to bring this up before, but your camera. Oh my god. I'm only like 2 minutes into this, by the way, but that camera is annoying the hell out of me. Why? Because whenever he moves his hand in front of it, the camera wants to focus on his hand for some reason, so I guess it's set to autofocus. It's so annoying that the camera has to keep adjusting and readjusting, and that hurts my eyeballs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a quality expert dude. That's why I record the way that I do. It just makes it easier for me. I'm sorry to rant on about that. Anyway, but to get to his main point here, he's saying that they, even just them nominating it is like, and the objective game of the year being Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that. It's to me, I know for a fact that if the game had won, that if Tears of the Kingdom had won, he would have been over the moon and he wouldn't even be making this video. At least I don't think he would. Or he would try to blame something else on this. But here's the thing, right? The fact that Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom were up there amongst the sea of other games, including a lot of games, like a lot of games, should show you how well this year was in terms of gaming, at the very least. Anyway, but you're not going to listen to that bit. What you are going to think is just because, like, oh, because of this and the gaming journalist didn't wanna do this and like agree with what my take, because my take is objective. Here's the thing, right? Nintendo's power and hardware is bad. All right, their hardware sucks, and you need to get over that. I'm sorry. There's really no other way that I can make this work. All right, this video is gonna be super fucking long.
To us by corrupt game journalists, right? Like, they went full mask off at the Game Awards, trying to convince us that next gen is here, that the Xbox and PlayStation are the consoles to have going forward, how like the Switch isn't going to be competitively viable, how like you need to replace it, how Nintendo needs to replace it, how there's nothing coming out, especially if you're a mature gamer who plays mature games. Like, that's been the they're doing the same thing they've always done, right? And I'm curious if things are a little bit different now, right? Like, I'm curious if more people are going to start seeing through this because I have seen more and more people like speak up against like the rumors and like the narrative about like new Nintendo hardware on the horizon. It's become kind of a meme now, the Switch 2. Like, I would argue that's kind of the point is to like make people sick and tired of hearing about the next Nintendo console before it actually gets announced, right? So like it just has like bad publicity going into it, right? Like I would argue that's part.
What kind of tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy have you cooked up this time, Harman? I am shocked. I have no other words other than I am shocked that's how he rationalized that situation. People criticizing and talking about maybe there will be a next Nintendo hardware stuff and things like that because they've seen this kind of behavior from Nintendo before, right? How is it that everyone is trying to gaslight people into that's Jesus Christ. I can't even think straight on that because I think I had a stroke trying to listen to that. Let's continue.
Of the strategy, but like it's it is happening, I think. The gaming journalism, the gaming industry is desperately trying to get people to move on from the Switch, right? Hoping that the next Nintendo console isn't going to be anywhere near as successful, right? So they don't have to do this thing again where they're pretending to support Nintendo hardware and that they pretend to like Nintendo and pretend to like their IPs and pretend to support them because they haven't. You can look at like what all these big AAA developers have put on Switch, and it's basically jack and shit. Like it's crazy, like to see Capcom, Ubisoft, EA, like all these major companies just throwing release after release at other platforms, having them fail over and over and over again.
I mean, considering the fact that some of them have actually gotten remasters and re-releases, no. I think that more comes down to the fact that they wouldn't be able to handle any of this stuff that they're trying to pull. Like, maybe there's a specific reason as to why people don't want to release on Switch. I'm just thinking, like, just spitballing here. Maybe it's the fact that you could set your Switch on fire by using these graphics and stuff. Maybe. I mean, I'm only a dude who vaguely understands what a computer is and has the knowledge and wherewithal to really kind of just do some studies into what makes good computers function. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I'm just dumb. And Harman's the smartest person in the fucking world. I don't know. But to get more into the point here, the thing with this is there is probably a reason as to why. And again, it's mostly because the hardware is old and 13-year-old hardware is having a problem. Just to give a quick, more modern example, I guess, Larian Studios, right? The dudes that made the Game of the Year had trouble with the Xbox Series S, porting their game to it, that is. So if they're having troubles with the Xbox Series S, then maybe they'll have problems with the Switch, because the Switch is even less powerful than the Series S. I'm just saying that seems to be the case here. Not only that, again, I don't know what Harman sees in the Switch now, saying that like it's the most powerful hardware and more powerful than a gaming PC. At least from what I remember him saying in the past, I might be misquoting him, and again, feel free to correct me in comments, but he's said stuff like that, where it's like, this game doesn't deserve this because it's not made by Nintendo, and only Nintendo deserves the praise and stuff like that. And I don't think that people are downplaying Nintendo in the way that you think that they are, because I think it's more of constructive criticism rather than destructive criticism, if that makes sense. Because they're criticizing Nintendo for not putting out another console because their console isn't as powerful. And yes, it's successful, but that success is definitely fleeting, and it's going to be waning soon if they don't up their strategy. And it seems that about this time, when the money printer stops happening, should be the time to be releasing a new console. It just seems like a no-brainer.
But like still refusing to like put anything on Nintendo consoles at all, right? And there are like endless examples of this, right? There's really no reason for like Yakuza to still not be on Switch, for example, right? Uh, there's no reason for like Street Fighter not be on Switch. There's no reason for like Monster Hunter World or Final Fantasy.
Insert comparison of Mortal Kombat on Switch versus Mortal Kombat on other places. I think it was Mortal Kombat 1. That got memed to high heavens.
15 or 14 or any of these other games to not be on Switch, right? But there's so many like examples of games that could obviously run on the platform that are just being ignored because people honestly believe that the Switch can't run to them, right? Which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it for even like a little bit, right? But that's the narrative they always run with, right? That it's not because of like some backroom deals and like some console exclusivity contracts. It's because of like the console itself, right? The Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo hardware itself is the blame for the lack of third parties and the lack of like support for the console, and like it's just
All right, so let's think about this. Nintendo's hardware is about 13 years out of date when it came out. Well, no, actually, I take that back. It is now 13 years old, about a little over a decade-ish, I think. I think it was released back then. They have had no significant updates other than making an OLED screen to it. They have had no significant issue, or they've had no significant fucking updates to the system. They've had no significant progress being made to the hardware systems. They've had a bunch of third-party support, but more games that have come out, again, have not done that. And again, saying like, oh, it can't run these games. Insert, again, the meme that fucking Mortal Kombat 1 had where they were comparing the Switch version to, like, the Xbox version or, like, the PlayStation version or stuff like that. Those two versions have a night and day difference in power and a night and day difference in graphical fidelity. Same thing with The Witcher, was when that got ported over, holy shit. Like, my god. One of the most beautiful games to be released, I would say, ever, looks like ass on the Switch. Like, absolute garbo ass. And not like the good Garbo ass, where it's like, it's still playable and functioning. It's like, no. Garbo ass is like bad Garbo ass. So, no. They can't run that stuff. It's not that they don't want to port their games on all the other platforms. It's just that they can't. And in my mind, por cornes los dos. Like, literally, why does it have to just be the hardware? Because it also could be exclusivity contracts as well, which, again, contracts have to be followed. That's just a thing that happens in the industry. Like, again, I'm thinking that it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but more column B of the hardware being underpowered rather than column A. Because, yeah, certainly, certain games do have exclusivity contracts, and absolutely those contracts need to be upheld. I mean, again, it depends per whatever, and stuff like that. But if you're telling me that these games, some of the games that you see now can be played on the Switch that are not like indie games or whatever, they could... No. Just straight up no. Mortal Kombat 1, no. No.
it just isn't true at all, right? So going into this year, like I really want people to like think about this, right? Like the Switch is well on its way to being the best-selling piece of hardware of all time. All of its games are doing exceedingly well. I'm sure Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to exceed like 20 million units. Like Tears of the Kingdom is an objective success. Games like Fire Emblem Engage are doing well, right? They're like endless examples of like major success stories on Switch. But the narrative right now is that Nintendo is on a downward spiral. It wasn't that long ago where people were trying to convince you that like Switch sales were going down, which, as we now know, is not true at all, right? That we've seen like major success stories from Nintendo over the past couple of years, but the narrative, like, I would argue since like 2020 has always been that like the Switch is on the verge of being replaced. Actually, it was before that. Like, from the 2018, 2019 period, like the narrative was that like Switch Pro, the improved Switch that could run all the big AAA games, would be like coming out like the following year, right? So like the thing that changed from 2020 onward was like the whole like new console thing, which people started talking about, which is what they're doing now, right? And I can tell you right now what's going to happen once like the new Nintendo console gets released, which is inevitable. Well, once it gets revealed at some point in the very distant future, not next year. Once this thing gets
I mean, again, Harman might be correct, he might not be correct. That's not the point. The point is that he just admitted he's a hypocrite. Literally, if you didn't catch it in that whole big ranty bit that he had there, and I know that I let that go on for a little bit too long, but that whole big ranty bit, he then said, like, it's inevitable that they announce a new console not in the next year. So are they going to announce a new console, or are they not going to announce a new console? That's my biggest question right now. Is that, they're going to not announce a new console because the Switch is forever or something like that. That's what you've been talking about for forever. But how do you know? Like, that's my biggest thing here. Like, how do you know that as well? And yeah, of course it might be disappointing because the specs might come out and be like, oh, this thing's super underpowered still, using like 5 to 6, 7-year-old hardware that's like not good anymore. Because, again, technology is moving really fast, and if Nintendo wants to at least be competitive, which they have been for a while, and no one's really downplaying their success stories, but it's just that those success stories are smaller and smaller. And yeah, saying that Switch sales are down, maybe they were down for the month, but that doesn't mean that the sales have dropped off a cliff. And in some cases, like, it depends on, like, a month-to-month thing. Like, it's not just one specific saying that says, oh, these sales are down, they need to make a new thing, and then, like, they'll just run with that. These articles might be years and years old at this point, and some articles might be trolls and whatnot. But again, that's not the point. The point here is, Harman, that Nintendo's hardware is bad, and you need to get over that fact. Holy crap. I think I'm going to tap out of this one. I'm like 75% way through this, but this video is already going to be like 20 minutes long, and I've tried to not upload like 20-minute long-ish videos at this point. I've been trying to steer away from like making super ranty versions of them, but I think I'm going to tap out at this point. There's like 3 minutes left of this video. I don't think he's going to say anything more than what we've already talked about here, or anything more important. But anyway, again, to conclude this video, 3 things. Number 1, again, thank you all for an amazing 2020. Absolutely smashed my sub goal that I wanted to hit this year. Going from like 150 to like 700 subscribers. That's probably the greatest amount of growth that I've had this year. Again, thank you all so much. And I really do like everything that has happened. You guys hit that subs goal. Number 2, we're going to do a more general Salt video, probably 2 videos uploaded this week. Later in the time, going to do another general Salt video. Haven't really scripted it out at the time of recording this, at least, so we're going to wait on that. And finally, again, there's my clip show at the end of the year. This is mainly just my shorts and gameplay clips that I happen to capture because I don't record a lot of gameplay and stuff as well. I might do more of those because I do like making them, and they're easier technically to make, and I can, do some of my music and stuff. But yeah, anyway, if you want to support me in anything that I do, other than maybe watching these more videos of mine, again, you should hit that like and comment and subscribe button. Always helpful, always great to see, always nice to have. But I do other things. Again, like I said, I am releasing more music. That's on my Bandcamp. I have stuff up on my Patreon, but I don't know if I'm going to even update that anymore. I'll keep it up in case people want it. Next up, we've got, of course, the other socials and stuff that's down in the description. But yeah, in any case, again, thank you all so much for watching this video. My name is GamePenguin21. Harman, you are an endless source of amazing content for me. and a piece. Off.